In the northwest of Saudi Arabia, at the heart of the mountainous region of Wadi al-Qura, lies a place with a fascinating history, the oasis of AlUla. Rich groundwater present in the subsoil have allowed the development of agricultural activities for millennia. This facilitated the rise of the ancient cities of Dadan and Higra a few kilometers to the north, as well as Kur to the south. In the center of the oasis, between the Jebel and the palm groves, and round the rocky promontory of Nasr, unfolds an urban complex known as AlUla's Old Town. The Multiscalar Documentation for Urban Dynamics project is a scientific research program conducted by the French company Archaïos, working in the field of heritage and archaeology across the world, and funded and steered by the French Agency for AlUla Development on behalf of the Royal Commission for AlUla. The objective of MuDUD project is to define this human occupation over time and understand the role of the location within the region and restitute the daily life of its former inhabitants. The history begins more than 5,000 years ago. A major archaeological discovery reveals that the region was traversed by nomadic populations about whom little is known. Under the sand, at the base of Nasr, archaeologists found remnants of fire. Carbon-14 dating of these charcoal fragments, fragile evidence of human presence, then challenged the conception of the history of the old city and the valley more broadly. They indicate that human presence has been maintained in this area since the 3rd millennium BCE. Engraved inscriptions, still visible on Nasr, indicate that the Thamudians people were present in AlUla. Historical sources mention the existence of the Thamudians in the 1st millennium BCE. It was not until the 3rd century BCE that the first traces of constructed dwellings appeared at the foot of the rock. Other older buildings may have existed, but no trace of them remains today. In the 7th century, the Umayyad dynasty ruled the Islamic world from Damascus, the capital of Syria. During this period, archaeological traces multiplied. They suggest an urbanization of the area, although it is presently not possible to define its boundaries or layout. In 750, the Abbasid dynasty came to power in the region, followed by several significant dynasties with different centers of power in the centuries that followed. Traces of human occupation distributed across a large part of the current footprint of the Old Town suggest a major development between the 8th and the 12th centuries. The discovery of a kiln in a dwelling, later replaced by a silo used for grain storage, and then by an animal bone dump, shows a succession of functions within the same space over time. These changes reveal significant urban dynamism. Before the start of the Mamluk period in the 13th century, the city seems to be in recession. The discovery of burials dated to this period within the city enclosure itself, whereas normally the deceased were buried outside, shows a partial abandonment of the city. In the 14th century, the explorer Ibn Battuta, passing through AlUla, provides information through his writings. AlUla is a large and pleasant village with palm gardens and water springs, lying half a day's journey or less from Al-Hijr. The pilgrims halt there for 4 days to provision themselves and wash their clothes. The city is in constant evolution. Its inhabitants have built, abandoned, and reconstructed their dwellings with local materials such as palm wood, sun-dried mud bricks, and stone. Traces of occupations corresponding to the end of the Mamluk Sultanate in the 15th century and the beginning of the Ottoman Empire in the 17th century, are still visible in some walls found during the excavation of soundings. Thanks to these clues, archaeologists can understand the evolution of building construction and even the Old City during this period. In the 17th century, the writings of the scholar Haji Khalifa tell us that the city underwent major urban changes. It extends significantly to the north and west. Written sources indicate that the fortress, built at an indeterminate time on the top of Nasir Rock, was restored during this period, and the city was fortified. The Tayyaras also appeared. These architectural elements, characteristic of the current Old City, are rooms built between two buildings above the streets that provide an extension of the house as well as shadow for pedestrians. Most dwellings are organized in the same way. 4 rooms arranged over 2 floors. On the ground floor, accessible from the street, is a living room for daily activities. Next to it, a reception room offers shade and coolness to guests. A staircase against one of the walls of the first room leads to the upper floor. Sometimes, blocks with inscriptions in Nabatean, Manaean, or Lionite, originating from peripheral sites, show the numerous reuses made in the city. Upstairs, there is the kitchen, latrines, and bedrooms, one of which could be in the Tayyara. In some cases, an open terrace could be a domestic activities area. Despite the desert climate, the city can experience violent floods several times a year. The inhabitants learn to control and take advantage of these phenomena by channeling and directing the water where they needed it. The Qanats, man-made underground channels, provide the city with drinking water. A semi-buried network exploits the natural terrain, passes through the streets, under some dwellings, and drains water to the fields of the oasis. To organize the sharing of this scarce resource, the inhabitants of AlUla rely on a solar calendar, the Tantora. Using a pillar made of stone and raw earth, along with a series of markers on the ground, they follow the movement of the sun and distribute the water according to the markers touched throughout the day. This system allowed an organized distribution of water for the irrigation of gardens and crops located east of the city. The history of the old city of AlUla is gradually unfolding to us. This city, a silent witness to the passage of centuries, fascinates us as much by the simplicity and ingenuity of its inhabitants as by the complexity of its history. It still holds many mysteries that scientists are striving to unravel.